Welcome, grade threes all over South Africa. Welcome to this mathematics lesson. I know some of you have met me before when I did the first online math lesson for grade 3 a few weeks ago. I'm Mrs. Frank, Teacher Nicole, or Teacher Frank, whatever you feel like calling me. And I would like to warmly welcome you to this lesson because it's quite cold where I am. So I hope you are warm and snug so that we can have some fun and enjoy this lesson. You will need a pencil or a pen and a page if you'd like, but you don't actually need to write during this lesson. This lesson is an introduction to 2D shapes. So you could just sit back, relax, and try and remember stuff that your teacher taught you already, or refresh your minds on 2D shapes. If you have any questions about this lesson or about the content of this lesson, please send an email to grade3@worksheetcloud.com and we will get back to you as soon as we can after this lesson. So today we are looking at 2D shapes, okay? And I have included some shapes in the cover of my slides. You can see them all bouncing around. And we're going to learn some more about these shapes, what we call these shapes. And this is just an introductory lesson into shapes. So some of you might already know all of these shapes and think to yourself, oh, I'm super smart, which is awesome. And then some of you might not know these shapes and you're going to learn them today. So let's start right in the beginning and find out what we're going to learn in this lesson. So the lesson outline. First, we're going to play a number game called Numbo Rumbo. Yes, grade threes, I made that up. And we're going to look at vocabulary for this lesson. We're going to find out what are shapes, different shapes and how to identify them, and then we're going to do that in practice. So those are the things that we're going to be doing in this lesson, and hopefully you will achieve the outcomes of this lesson by the end. Okay. Numbo Rumbo, and you can almost hear the drums rolling when I say that word. Okay, so here I got some pictures, and these pictures represent certain numbers, so you have to look carefully, grade threes. Okay, there's a cute little puppy over there, a horse, and a giraffe. And I have included what each picture represents. The cute little puppy over here represents the number 3. The horse represents the number 4. And we don't know what the giraffe represents yet. Okay, so now we can kind of have an idea of where this number game is going. Alright, so before I get in your way, I'm going to move myself up over here. I'm still here, grade 3. Okay, so I have 2 puppies, a horse, and a giraffe. And now we need to figure out what the answer would be. And once we know what the answer is, then we can figure out what the giraffe could possibly be equal to. So I'm going to give you the answer quickly to the sum at the bottom, and then you can see if you can figure out what the giraffe represents, what number the giraffe represents. So a puppy plus the horse plus the giraffe is equal to 15. So I'm going to give you a few seconds to try and see if you can figure out what the giraffe could be equal to. Go for it. So, okay, You don't need to use a pen or a pencil if you don't want to, but I'm going to take out my pen, grade 3s, and I'm going to work out what this answer could be. So, we have worked out that a puppy is 3, right? So there already I know I must have 2 3s, okay? And we know that the horse is equal to 4. I hope you're all with me so far. Okay, and then we have this number over here, which is the total amount of the 4 animals. Okay, so 3, what we're going to do is we're going to add these up, and then we're going to subtract these from this number, because that number should give us what the giraffe is equal to. Okay, so I'm circling the giraffe. Right, so let's do that step by step. And I'm going to use another color so that we can color our screen up a bit. So we're going to say 3 plus 3 plus 4. And I'm just going to draw a bracket around it so that I know that that's the 3 numbers I'm working with now. And the answer there is 3 plus 3 is equal to 6. And 6 plus 4 is equal to 10. I hope you all got 10 grade 3s. Oh, that is an ugly 0. Let me just erase that quickly. And then I can go back to drawing my 0 again. Right, okay, so that's equal to 10. Now I must take this number over here and subtract 10 from it so that I can get this answer over here. Remember, we are looking for the giraffe's number. So I'm going to say 15 minus 10 is equal to. Okay. Now, if you remember the leapfrog method that we did right in the beginning, we normally start with a smaller number and then we hop over to the bigger number. And if you do that method, you will see that it will give us 5 hops. And our answer is 5. I wonder how many of you got 5 right, and I'm sure you did. So let's right now, we have found our answer, and our giraffe is equal to 5. Well done, grade 3s. So, mathematics vocabulary. What do I mean when I say mathematics vocabulary? Well, it made me think about when we are doing a lesson, sometimes the words are what confuses children. So before we continue our lesson, I wanted us to just look at the certain vocabulary that might be used in this lesson. So the word identify, and you're going to see me use this word quite often in the lessons. The word identify means to find, okay? So when I say go and identify something, I want you to go and find something or get the answer of something. So please take note, grade 3s, of that word identify. And then dimensions. So the reason why I put dimensions here is because we're going to be looking at 2D shapes. And one of the most important parts of 2D shapes is dimensions. So a dimension is a measurement such as length, width, or height. If you talk about the dimensions of an object or place, you are referring to its size and proportions. So to explain this to you, I have placed a shape here on the screen. And dimensions, like they say, it's a measurement, okay, such as length, width, or height. So in this shape, there are only 2 dimensions, okay? And the one dimension is over here. And the other dimension is indicated over here with my very skew line. But I'm sure grade 3s, you will draw a proper straight line when you are doing it. Okay, so those are the two words you're going to be looking at today so that you don't get confused when I am speaking about identifying things or looking at dimensions. So, I'm again in your way. Let me move down. Right. 2D shapes. Grade 3s. And the first thing we look at when we think of 2D shapes, we try and break up that word. Okay? And that's how we're going to do that. We are going to say that 2 means the number 2. And then the D here means dimensions. Okay? Remember we spoke about dimensions in the previous slide. So 2D shape stands for two-dimensional shapes. Okay? And then I thought I had to add in what exactly shapes are. A shape can be defined as the form of an object. So the outer form of an object. It is also a geometric section of work. Okay, so that's when you start with geometry, we start with shapes. So I've decided to place the common shapes over here on the screen for you because I'm sure you all know these shapes. A square, a circle, a triangle, a rectangle. Okay, so those are the common shapes that you probably have known all along. And when you started, when you were a little child, your mom used to say, see, that's a square, that's a circle, that's a triangle. So these are the common shapes that we are used to. In this lesson, we're going to go a step further and find out about other shapes, okay, especially with regard to their sides and the amount of sides that they have. So, identifying 2D shapes. Over here, there are different shapes as you can see them, grade 3s. In the first section, we have shapes over here that have 4 sides. Let's count them. 4 straight sides. Let's count them. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? 1, 2, 3, 4. And the last one, 1, 2, 3, 4. We call shapes with 4 sides quadrilaterals. So I would like you all to say that word wherever you are. Shout it out a little in your kitchen or your lounge or your bedroom. Okay, and say quadrilaterals. Okay, so shapes with 4 sides are called quadrilaterals. And because we have a lot of shapes in this page, I'm going to draw a block or a circle or whatever my pen allows me to draw around these 3 shapes. Okay, and then I'm going to get a different color so that you don't get confused. Right, so then the second type of shape we're looking at has 3 sides. So let's count them together. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. These shapes are called triangles. They have 3 straight sides. And like the quadrilaterals, I'm going to draw a very skew circle around my shapes so that I can group them together. Now we're going to move into some of the shapes that some of you might not have known, okay? We are going to move into shapes that have 5 sides. So, let's count them together. This has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These shapes with 5 straight sides are called pentagons, as you can see over here in the little block next to it. And I'm going to draw another skew circle around that. I don't even think it is a circle, grade 3s. Anyway, let's move on to our next slide. Continue with shapes. So, the next one we are looking at shapes with 6 sides. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This shape has 6 straight sides, okay? And we call them hexagons. We can count the rest of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's a hexagon. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that's a hexagon. Okay, and we're going to draw our little squiggly circle kind of block thing around our shapes. And then the last one has 7 shapes, 7 straight sides. Okay, and let's count them together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And we call shapes that has 7 straight sides, we call them heptagons. So, grade 3s, so far we've learnt different shapes and the amount of sides that they have give them different names. I hope you all understood so far as we go on to the next slide. So, shapes are all around us. Can you see any? So I'm going to leave the screen on for a little bit and I want you to look around your room or your kitchen or your lounge or wherever you are sitting. Look around and see if you can see any shapes, especially the shapes that we spoke about today in this lesson. I give you permission to walk around, touch on them and say, hey, this is a square, this is a hexagon. Oh my word, here's a triangle. I want you to get involved, grade 3. So walk around, look around and just see for a few seconds all the different shapes you can see just in the space that you're sitting. Okay, so I have 2 pictures that I have to put on the screen for you now. This is the one. I want you to look at this picture and I want to see how many shapes you can identify in this picture. Take a look, grade 3s. I'm going to give you a few seconds to do that. So I'm sure by now the first kind of shape you notice immediately are the triangles, right? Because they are sticking out. As you can see over here, this is the shape of a triangle over there, right? And I'm attempting to draw a triangle around the triangle, but as you can see, I'm terrible at drawing. So there we can see a rectangle, and maybe this color pen is also not really clear. And you can see a rectangle over there that I just drew around that you couldn't see because of my terrible pen that I had. And then over here you can kind of see a square, okay? And then you can see rectangles, the windows. And here's another square. I mean, even the tree looks a little bit like a triangle, grade 3s. Can you see that? The door is a rectangle over there. And what I'm basically trying to show you is that shapes make up things all around us. And to give structure, they use shapes to hold the foundation of certain things in place. And they like to use triangles to do this and to show this. And that I'm going to show you in our next picture. So here's another picture. Again, I want you just to look at it for a few seconds, grade 3s, and see how many shapes you can find in this picture and what shapes they are. So remember I spoke to you about how triangles help things form a foundation or a structure. And as you can see here, these over here forming triangles, okay? You can see them, those triangles, and those triangles help keep structures up. And then on this bridge over here, you can see my rectangles. They are made out of long rectangles over here. Even these structures over here are made out of rectangles. And I'm sure if you look further, you can see other sorts of shapes as well. But just look over here quickly. So even though they are making those small triangles, they also make bigger ones if you can look over there. So whenever you go out now, grade 3s, look around and see how many shapes you can find, especially around the house, so that you can see to yourself, oh my word, this is actually how this was created using this shape. So remember, you can send any questions about this lesson to grade 3 at WorksheetCloud.com. An activity and memo is provided for you after this lesson. Grade 3s, it's been a pleasure as usual. From me, Teacher Nicole, or Teacher Frank, or Miss Frank, I wish you a wonderful day further. I hope you enjoyed this lesson. See you and goodbye.